Good afternoon, I'm Liv. Welcome to News Beyond the Markets, a special show that will get you all the news that matters to your day. And first up on the program, an update coming in on COVID in New South Wales, which of course is Australia's most populated state. There's been the biggest rise in new locally acquired COVID-19 cases in nearly a week, prompting authorities to extend a mask mandate in Sydney for a week. 10 new locally acquired cases were reported in New South Wales as officials fight to contain the latest cluster of the highly infectious Delta variant. 8 of the 10 are household contacts of previous cases in isolation. Masks will be mandatory indoors in Sydney for another week from Thursday morning, although officials stopped short of announcing further restrictions as the cluster increased to 21 infections in 6 days. The Delta variant, which has been classified by the World Health Organization as among the 4 COVID-19 variants of concern, most likely caused through the latest devastating outbreak in India. Tuesday's data includes 7 cases recorded after the 8 p.m. deadline, which will be included in Wednesday's numbers. Now, authorities say the latest outbreak, the first in the state in more than a month, is linked to a driver who transports overseas airline crew members and then later visited several venues around the city, including a popular shopping centre in the city's east in Bondi. Strict tracing systems, tough social distancing rules and a high community compliance have kept Australia's COVID-19 numbers relatively low. Just over 30,350 cases, 910 deaths have been recorded. Meanwhile, there have been no new local cases of coronavirus recorded in Victoria overnight, as South Australia and Queensland announced their state borders will reopen just in time for school holidays. The border measures will lift at 12 a.m. on Friday in South Australia, 1 a.m. on Friday in Queensland, and that'll allow Victorians to travel to those states over the school break. On the other hand, Queensland's reported 1 new local case of COVID-19. That's been linked to a woman from Portugal. The new case is a man in his 60s who attended a restaurant in Brisbane at the same time as the woman. All 36 people who attended the restaurant are now in home quarantine isolating. The state will lift restrictions on people from Victoria travelling to Queensland at 1 a.m. on Friday morning. Moving on from coronavirus news and updates to news of an important merger. Australian investment firm Washington H. Soul Pattinson and Co. said on Tuesday it would buy Pierre Milton Corp to create a combined company with nearly $8.29 billion in market capitalisation. WHSP's offer of $6 per share values Milton at $4.05 billion and is at 20% premium to the stock's last closing price. Under the deal, Milton shareholders will get 3 fully franked dividends totalling 52 cents per share. Graham Crampton, who is the chair of Milton's independent board committee, said that the independent board has considered the offer and determined that the merger creates compelling value for the shareholders. The deal comes just months after WHSP scrapped its buyout bid for old age home services provider or aged care provider Regis Healthcare. And now it's time for a short break, but stay tuned. After the break, I'll be back with news from the world of sports.
This is Andy Liu broadcasting from 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 Media Studio in Australia, and I'll be hosting the new 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 Wellness Show. The half-hour show will cover topics from how wellness as a concept has become even more significant during COVID, to how becoming vegan may improve your health, and much more. We are excited to showcase our live streaming show to our audience of millions overseas and in Australia. Tune in to 𝐊𝐴LKINE TV and join me.
Ready to join the top business experts for an insightful live webinar with 𝐊𝐴LKINE Media, hinged on the pandemic recovery phase. How are businesses gearing up for it? The COVID-19 pandemic has turned the table upside down for businesses across the globe, and as the markets work towards adjusting to the new normal in the pandemic recovery phase, 𝐊𝐿KINE Media helps you grab the insights on the business resilience during COVID-19 and beyond. So, gear up for a chance to directly hear from the mining, financial services and health and wellness industry veterans on how their businesses are getting ready for the post-pandemic era. We welcome Mr. Peter Malone, CEO of Skin Elements, and Mr. Inderjeet Singh, the Executive Chairman of Fiducian Group. So don't miss your window. Mark your calendars for June 25th, 2021 at 12:30pm Australian Eastern Standard Time, straight from Sydney, Australia, to your screens. Save the date, book your slot right away, and do not forget the link is mentioned in the description box below. Visit 𝐊𝐴Nmedia.com or reach out to us on 0290 42 2308. Till then, stay apprised with market moves and trending updates with 𝐊𝐴N Media.
Hello, welcome back. My name's Liv and you're watching the news beyond the markets. Moving on to the world of sports now, and weightlifter Laurel Hubbard will become the first transgender athlete to compete at the Olympics after being selected by New Zealand for the women's event at the Tokyo Games. It's a decision that's set to reignite a debate over inclusion and fairness in sport. Hubbard will compete in the super heavyweight 87 plus kilogram category, and her selection was made possible by an update to qualifying requirements in May. The 43-year-old, who will be the oldest lifter at the Games, had competed in men's weightlifting competitions before transitioning in 2013. The New Zealand Olympic Committee chief said it was an historic moment in sport and for the New Zealand team. Hubbard has been eligible to compete at the Olympics since 2015, when the International Olympic Committee issued guidelines allowing any transgender athlete to compete as a woman, provided their testosterone levels are below 10 nanomoles per litre for at least 12 months before their first competition. Weightlifting has been at the centre of the debate over the fairness of transgender athletes competing against women, and Hubbard's presence in Tokyo could prove divisive. Belgian weightlifter Anna van Bellingen said last month allowing Hubbard to compete at Tokyo was unfair for women and like a bad joke. Former New Zealand weightlifter Tracy Lambert said she had to make way in the super heavyweight category at the Commonwealth Games for Hubbard. Meanwhile, Hubbard, who injured herself during competition at the Commonwealth Games and thought her career was over, thanked the New Zealanders. Another transgender athlete, BMX rider Chelsea Wolfe, will travel to Tokyo as part of the United States team. She's been named as an alternate but is not assured of competing. Next up, an update from the world of cricket, and former Australian cricketer Stuart MacGill has broken his silence over his alleged kidnapping and assault, saying he'd done nothing wrong and the ordeal had taken a major toll on his family. The 50-year-old former leg spinner was allegedly abducted near his home in Sydney in April and taken to another part of the city where he was beaten and threatened with a gun. He was freed, no ransom was paid for his release. New South Wales police charged 4 men over the incident, including the brother of MacGill's partner, Maria Omar, and said on Monday that they were searching for 3 other men believed to be involved. MacGill spoke exclusively to a current affair program last night, and he waited 5 days to report the incident. Police say he was purely a victim. Now it's time for a short break, but stay tuned, as after the break I'll be back with news that matters for the environment.
Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
Sectoral coverage or industry news.
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
With 𝐊𝐴N TV.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the news that matters for the environment now. The Australian government has rejected plans for a $36 billion wind, solar and hydrogen project in the remote area, or in a remote area, I should say, of Western Australia. The measure would leave what would have been one of the world's largest green energy projects in limbo for now, in a decision dated June the 15th and published on the Environment Department's website. Environment Minister Sussan Ley ruled that the project, the Asian Renewable Energy Hub, will have clearly unacceptable impacts on internationally recognised wetlands and migratory bird species. The AREH project, located in the state's Pilbara region, was designed to initially build 15 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity, eventually to be expanded to 26 gigawatts, and to produce green hydrogen and ammonia for export. The government had awarded the project fast-track approval status last September, touting jobs, clean energy for local industry and large-scale export opportunity that it would bring. AREH is being developed by privately owned Intercontinental Energy, renewables developer CWP Energy Asia, and top global wind turbine maker Vestas, as well as the Macquarie Group Fund. The Environment Minister cited the expansion plan in the rejection decision. The project's original plan won environmental approval last December. And lastly, in news that matters, under a plan proposed by the New South Wales government, property developments that benefit from new train stations, other government investment in transport and changes to permitted land use will have to pay hundreds of $millions a year extra in taxes. New South Wales Planning Minister Rob Stokes said on Tuesday that as part of the state budget, he will introduce a new infrastructure contribution system across New South Wales. That's it for now. Stay tuned with Kalkine TV for more live market updates, and we'll be back with more news on the markets, economy, as well as other diverse themes. Thanks for watching.